Okay, hello everyone again. This is our first workshop this semester from our PAW team on the topic of ARC 1 and ARC 2 courses, how you can benefit from them later in your any academic writing in your future major courses. We will be talking about that. This one will be more focused and targeting like a Q&A session slash workshop. So if any of you guys have any questions throughout this workshop, don't hesitate to ask us. You can either unmute yourself and ask us directly or write your questions and send it through chat. We will be monitoring that and answering that. First, we wanted to just start from the brief introductions of our team. Today we have all 4 members of our PAW team for this semester. I'll start from myself. Hello everyone. My name is Paul, and I've been working as a PAW for almost 2.5 years. It's my fifth semester currently. So if you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me and ask me or book a session with me. I'm always glad to help. I am a DBI student, very interested in analytics and AI. Very fond of basketball and music. So this is a bit from myself. We have 3 other PAWs with us, Dee, Andrea, and Muhtasim. Please introduce yourself, guys. Anyone who wants to
So,
start?
yeah, I'll go. So, hello guys, my name is Dee and I'm from Sri Lanka and I've been working as a PAW for just 1 semester. This is my second one. I'm a third year, second semester student in international relations. So, I'm very interested in anything about IR in general, controversial topics or whatever you take. But I also like the other fields. So DBI topics are BE topics. Anything is welcome. And if you have any sort of question on, I don't know, writing or like even brainstorming in general, or you're just confused in general, yeah, you can hit us up at our usual spot. Come talk with us. We're very welcoming. So maybe
Yeah.
Andrea or yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, hi, I'm Andrea. I'm a second year IR student. This is my first semester here at PAW, so I'm looking forward to actually meeting you all and helping you guys. Outside of IR related topics, especially like culture, I'm really into, or learning about other societies, especially since I'm from the US. Outside of university, my hobbies are cooking and baking. So that's all.
Yes, my name is Muhtasim. And I started working with the PAW team from this semester as well. I'm a 6th semester DBI student. And yeah, so like PAW, I'm also interested in AI and like other topics that are related to my major, but I'm also interested in IR topics, which is why I decided to study Intro to Political Science from this semester with Professor Yamamoto. I think Dee will recognize him. Yes, and it's been very interesting. When it comes to ARC1, yeah. I mean, back when I did it, it was AC1. So when it comes to ARC1, ARC2, I think a lot of students just become nervous when they hear the amount of research they have to do and the amount of writing they have to do. We are there to help you. Please, if you have any sort of confusion, any sort of questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. We've been through most of it, and now in this semester I'm doing the thesis seminar, so we can definitely help you. Yeah, we can definitely help you make it easier. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys. Again, welcome everyone. We're happy to have you here. At the end of this workshop, we will also have an attendance form, so you will be able to fill it in as a participation for this workshop. So we'll provide you a link at the very end and mention it again. So as I mentioned earlier, we are going to start this workshop today from just sharing our own thoughts, our own ideas of how we think you can benefit from ARC 1 and ARC 2 courses in your future major academic writing projects or anything like that. And then we'll move more into Q&A, answering your questions and everything. So let me start first. Personally, I think that there are two main aspects of skills you can get from ARC 1 and ARC 2 courses that can be very beneficial for you in the future. First set of skills would be more technical, I would say, because in ARC 1, ARC 2, you will learn the very basics of writing. It can include both formatting aspects, formatting rules, or anything related to that, and also which essay type, which paper type should include what parts, specific parts. So when you actually encounter any major papers, major courses, you'll understand what parts you need to include in that specific type of paper you are going to write, and already will be very familiar with all the formatting rules and anything. If you need to format your in-text citations, reference lists, everything, you will be already very familiar with those. Second aspect, I would say, is more content-based. We, as a PAW team, as well as many of the professors, we always recommend students to select the topics they are interested in during the ARC 1 and ARC 2 courses. And the reason for that is to keep you motivated on writing throughout the whole process. And usually the topics you are interested in are related or connected somehow with your actual major. So during writing your ARC 1, ARC 2 essays, you'll already start researching topics related to your major. And later on, when you'll have to write an academic paper for a major course, for example, you already have some knowledge about the topic or about the major in general, because you'll remember, oh, in my ARC 1, ARC 2 course, actually I was writing a paper, and yes, I was doing a bit of research, and I already have some knowledge about this specific topic. So it can be very useful in this type of aspects. So I would say there are generally these two sides of this technical part and content part. So um, anyone else, guys, have you have your own ideas, thoughts about this?
I think I completely agree with Paul. And if I had to add to it, I think I would add two more parts to it. It's that, first of all, speaking as a Sri Lankan student, like I believe that in many countries, especially not Western countries, maybe more developing countries, there's a tendency in the high school level standards to not really talk about academic writing in general. And when students come to universities, they might feel very overwhelmed all of a sudden at what is this citing nonsense? What do you mean there's a specific format? Everything can feel very confusing. And suppose you did not have this ARC 1, ARC 2, you would just suddenly be put into major courses. And a lot of your professors would expect properly formatted papers. But suppose you don't actually have an idea about how to do that, then you would feel very lost. And I feel like the added stress and burden of figuring that out by yourself would probably lead to quite a hit on your actual grades that you would end up getting otherwise. So think of the academic literacy courses as a chance for you to familiarize yourself with how to actually write in an academic way, because at the school level you probably wrote in a much more casual way, and maybe your teachers did not have such stringent standards on how to write. So this is a good chance to actually analyze how in the academic world, how professors, how scholars actually write, and for you to uh, influence yourself to absorb all that knowledge and like apply it to your own. And the second point I think I want to focus on, this might be a bit more relevant to IR students, but I think it can work for BE and DBI students as well, is that don't think of your academic literacy courses as something outside of your major or something that you just learned in your first year and put it aside. Don't think of it like that, because this is like your first real face-to-face understanding with academic writing and taking topics, formulating ideas, and writing a paper. Think of it as a journey. And this is the first step where you actually find some topics you're interested in. And in my own case, I think that now that I'm in my third year, second semester, and I'm writing a thesis, the topics I actually took in my academic literacy courses have shaped my understanding, and they are very much related to the thesis that I will be writing. So the knowledge and the papers that you will probably use in your ARC 1 and ARC 2, they can very well shape what you will end up writing in your third year, fourth year, or even in your graduate school level papers. So don't think of it as like something that you have to do, that it's compulsory, but take it on head on and like actually enjoy the process. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, G. Very true. I would say definitely thesis is probably one of the most important parts of this, and those basic literacy courses will give you not only knowledge, as you mentioned, but also like all of the technical abilities to write your thesis, because formatting is also the crucial, one of the most crucial parts of your thesis. Andrea, Muhtasim, you have anything?
I also agree with both you, Paul and Dee, because as like a second year student, I still frequently go back to my ARC1 and ARC2 papers, and I like to look back on how do I format an essay still, or should I use this topic again, or revisit situations I've already kind of studied a little bit on. I also think these classes help with just how to research properly and find good sources. Because as a first year student, it was like really hard for me to get used to using Google Scholar and all these other new databases that I wasn't familiar with. So these classes actually help with future research as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. Definitely a great point. Looking for sources will be so much useful for you in not only later major courses, but like honestly throughout your whole life, later on career-wise, anything. Researching is a really important aspect. So to just learn, have an idea of what types of databases are there, what you can use, how you can search efficiently for anything you want to, will always be of a great benefit to anyone, honestly. Okay, Muhtasim, you have anything?
Yeah, right. So, yes, I want to build up on a point that Dee mentioned, right? And it's again related to like the first thing she mentioned about how for those of us who come from like a bit of underdeveloped countries, we don't emphasize academic writing that much, not in high school, not in the university as well. And the reason this connected with me a lot is because I still remember I have a lot of relatives, friends, who are a bit older than me, and they were, back then I wasn't at TIU, and but they were already studying at the university. And if you're from Bangladesh, I think you can relate to it a little bit. So the thing is, these students, they were in the university, but unlike us, they didn't have academic writing courses in the first or second semester. I met various people from like various universities, and they all confirmed. I'm like, don't you have don't you have to bother with AP citations or some sort of citations? They're like, what are citations? I don't get it. Yeah. So they had no knowledge about citing sources or anything. But by the time they're in the they're third year or fourth year, and a lot of these public universities, it's mandatory to write a thesis. Again, unlike our university. In our university, it's not mandatory to write a thesis, at least not for DBI or BE. But so now you have to graduate and you need to write a thesis, but you never studied citations or anything like that, right? Academic writing in general. So they have to, it's so hectic for them. They have to devote hours outside of school to communicate with the professors, have meetings with them just for formatting, right? Formatting issues, not even for like research or content, just for formatting. They need to go to one person and ask this person if this is right, correct or not. So in that sense, I think we're very fortunate that our professors have already shared resources with us. We don't even have to contact them. They have already shared online resources which you can refer to in order to check if your citations are correct and all. So in that case, in that sense, we are very fortunate. And another thing that I want to mention is that a lot of us, I remember like even a semester or two ago, I was pretty certain that I'm not going to go for graduate studies. A lot of my friends were also certain that we're not going to go for graduate studies. So we're like, we're not going to bother with thesis seminars, right? We're not going to bother with thesis seminars. We don't want to do thesis. But then a few semesters go by, you meet a few more professors, you learn a bit more about your major, and then you're like, maybe it's a good idea to do write a thesis. You never know. A lot of students over here, or many people who didn't come here, everyone's pretty sure right now that they're not going to do graduate studies or PhD, right? So they're like, it's okay, I don't want to bother with thesis seminars. I just want to get done with ARC1, ARC2 right now. But trust me, it's, your opinion will probably change. More so when you get into your career, your company, it's very common for companies nowadays to just make it very clear that get a master's degree and you're looking for another promotion. So I feel like because we are probably going to go for our graduate studies in the near future, thesis, academic writing, it's very important, right? Even if it's not just about thesis, I mean, even if you, at a university level, if you have to give a speech, right? If you want to attend another conference, if you want to attend some sort of academic meeting, you need to, if you want to say something that's based on some sort of research, you need to cite, you need to properly cite. Otherwise, your opinion isn't that credible, or, yeah, you're going to run into issues, plagiarism issues. So yeah, again, very important. Like Dee said, don't think of this as like some sort of mandatory work you need to complete. Please look at this as something that can be fun. It's a journey. Yeah, that'll be all from my side from now.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing. Definitely great insights as well. Um, Overall, we would like to say again, highlight that these literacy courses, ARC 1, ARC 2, basically are your main foundation for anything related to academic writing in the future, because there are so many different aspects, small ones or big ones, that will definitely help you in terms of formatting, in terms of general knowledge, content, technical parts, researching, anything it can be. So also, the one thing we want to really highlight is we definitely can understand that for uh, especially first year students, or the ones who had never had any experience before with academic writing, it might be very challenging to just start learning all the unfamiliar aspects of academic writing, formatting rules and everything. But all the professors and our PAW team are always here to help you, to assist you with anything related to academic writing. So we definitely encourage all the students, and especially you, the ones who attended this workshop right now, book the sessions with us during the whole semester. If you have any questions, even if you think the questions are really simple, really silly, or anything, um, don't really think that way. All the simple questions, all the questions you might think are very, very not that complicated. Those are the questions that usually give you a lot of insights about the future, because those questions can start a general discussion and you can learn a lot of things about other aspects as well. So uh, if ever you have any difficulties, worries, or you just want to have like a set of fresh eyes to look at your paper, we encourage you to book a session with us in the future. So these are general ideas we would like to share with you. So if you guys have any questions, any concerns, any worries, let's start our discussions, or Q&A, as we call it usually. So don't hesitate to ask us, write us any questions, and we will definitely try answering them, sharing our ideas, sharing our experience, thoughts about whatever you might have feeling right now. In the meantime, I would say while we wait for some questions to come up, maybe guys, you want to share some of the challenges you might have been encountering during your ARC 1, ARC 2 courses.
I can go first,
Yeah, sure,
if that's okay.
please.
Right. So I distinctly remember that back then it was ART, now it's ARC2. And in my ART course, at the very end, we had to write a literature review. Maybe it was named a bit, the assignment was named a little bit differently, I'm not sure. But so the idea is still the same. I think a lot of the students who are in ARC2, they're also familiar with this task, I hope. So and I remember I faced a lot of I faced some difficulty. I wouldn't say it was very difficult or it was too challenging, but the reason I bring this up is because literature review will revisit you when you come to your thesis in in your third year and your fourth year, right? So like I don't know about D, but like for me in my thesis seminar, like the most of it's going to be about developing our literature review. It's going to be lengthy as well. And one mistake I think a lot of us make is, the professors demand that we have 15 sources, 20 sources, right? And sometimes we pick sources like just because we have to meet the requirement. It's the quality isn't that nice. It's not connecting with our research question or topic. But so when it comes to literature review, now you have been through so many stages, and now it's the literature review, right? And in literature review, the main task is to explain not even concisely or briefly, but in detail as to how this research paper is, how is it connected to your research topic? What did you learn from it? So my suggestion to students would be that I know it's very difficult. You have a lot of other courses to juggle. It's so difficult with the time and everything. But please be careful with the sources you take. I think you have to write at least like one. I mean, if it's a good paper that it's connecting with your research topic, then you can write a lot. But if it isn't, it's going to be very difficult for you to even write one page. You need to explain that how it's connecting, and what did you learn from it. There might be, I remember that, obviously there was like our professors explained that there's a chance that the paper that you chose, you've been through it, but it did not provide you with a lot of information regarding your topic, right? But you still have to explain how it connects to your paper. So my suggestion, please be careful with the papers you choose. Now, how do you quickly, maybe there's a question like, if only there was a way to quickly choose a paper, right? And again, it comes down to the basics, something that we're learning again in our thesis seminar. Titles, subtitles, abstract, right? First few lines of abstract, the last few lines of abstract. These few things, there's some you go through because you have to go through many papers, right? Again, in thesis seminar, I think the requirement is about 20 papers or 30 papers at least, right? And of them, at least 20 of them have to be like papers that you went through properly. So how do you select them quickly? The title, the subtitle, and the abstract. Within these few places, you should be able to tell if you need, if this paper is related to your research topic. That's how you quickly. It's really about these basics, scheming through these few points, and that will help you choose the paper quickly. Yeah, that'll be all from me.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing. Definitely, those are some good points you mentioned. Andrea, do you have anything to share? Some of the challenges you might have encountered before?
Yes, especially in my previous first ARC1 class, I struggled with having good sources and good evidence, but I couldn't explain it well. So it was a lot of my professors asked, what do you mean by this? Or how can this be, how does this apply to your thesis? What are you trying to say? So that was one of the biggest things I struggled with throughout ARC1.
Yeah, definitely. That can be very challenging. If
I think I'll do a shameless promo first. I'll probably do a workshop on sources in the near future. So if anyone is going to struggle with sources, I definitely recommend signing up for that one in the near future. So keep an eye out. Personally, what I would struggle most with is the theme chart.
mm,
But I'm not sure if I should talk about it and scare everyone here.
you just let
Mm,
everybody know that there is an assignment that is called the theme chart. So be cautious about that. Yeah, but that definitely that can be one of the challenges too. As for me, I would say in general, if you are from if you're coming from a local high school, or you've been in your local country's university before, and you really are not familiar with the types of APA formatting or Chicago formatting or anything. In TIU, there is mainly APA formatting. Most professors, they like to use this specific formatting for all of the academic writing papers. But there are some other ones also. If you are very unfamiliar with that, and I was that way because I was studying in my own country, and the formatting and everything was completely different. So it took time to get used to all of this, to learn how the all of the paragraphs should be formatted, what is the style of formatting, the style of APA formatting in particular, how your body paragraph should be formatted in text as paragraph, for example. And those are all the aspects that might be a little bit challenging just for understanding at the very beginning, but with some practice, with some experience, I would say you can easily get used to it very quickly, and understand how to do any of it in writing. All right, guys, do we have any questions as for now? I don't see any. Maybe you can just want to share with us what you are expecting from your academic literacy courses. What are your expectations from ARC 1, ARC 2 courses, or anything related to that? Again, if you have any questions to us related to academic writing, related to academic literacy courses, don't hesitate to ask. Also, if you have any concerns, worries about writing in general, also don't hesitate to share.
well,
Again,
I think,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
I was just going to say again, you can just freely unmute yourself and speak up if you want to. If you don't really want to, you can always send us questions through chat, or send your thoughts through chat. We'll read them out and then start our discussion, sharing our own thoughts and ideas about this. Yes, Dee, you wanted to say something?
Oh, yeah. Actually, that reminded me of something else. Also, if you feel like your question might be too silly, or you're just embarrassed to ask and like you don't want to even type it out in the public chat, you can just direct message either Paul or one of us. That's also completely fine. We won't out your name or anything.
Definitely, definitely.
Mhm. And I think I was just gonna ask you, you mentioned that you had a completely different citation system, because
Mhm.
I used to be in China before. And when I was in China, I remember following the, what do we call it? The Chicago system. They used to follow that type of citations over there. I think I can also provide a bit of insight. So in China, they expected us to follow that format, but they did not have a compulsory academic literacy course.
Mm.
So as an international student in the midst of Chinese students, I did not realize that I had to take the academic literacy course because I was fresh out of high school in a country which did not really talk about academic writing. So I did not take the course. And all of a sudden, when my first year assignments requested Chicago style, I was like, what is that even?
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of time online trying to figure it out. And trust me, even then it was very hard to understand. And once I transferred to TIU and I was made to take the ARC 1 and ARC 2 courses again for a good reason, I think now. I realized that actually formally learning how to go through academic writing is actually very, very much easier because they actually hone in on the things you need to focus on little by little. Whereas if you're like suddenly writing an assignment or your thesis, like Mr. Sim was talking about, and you have this citation system, it can feel like, where do I start? What is what? Everything feels very confusing. So I think it's if you're scared about Arc 1 and Arc 2, please don't be. Arc 1 students, especially, it will be an easy class, like in the sense of like there's not much pressure on you for to have any technical knowledge of your majors or anything. You can probably pick any even a very simple topic related to your courses, and your professors will help you out regardless of whether you're IR, DB, or BE. Sorry, DBI. They will help you out. And even if they're not related to those things, I think some professors might be okay with that. So as long as you just are interested in something, you can figure it out. And for ARC 2 students, you already have an idea of what ARC 1 was like. So you're probably not as scared. And I think they also made the course much easier compared to previous guidelines.
Mm.
So yeah, there's really nothing to worry about. And of course, if you're worrying about something, I think you should stop by PAW and just check us out.
Definitely, yes. And although even if you are taking ARC 2 course and you're already done fully with your ARC 1, still there are many new aspects just presented in ARC 2 course. So there's always something new, something more complicated, because definitely ARC 2 papers are much more complicated than ARC 1 basic essays. So if ever anything, definitely stop by our post sessions, or also throughout the whole semester, we are usually hosting a set of workshops related to a specific topics. So we always encourage you, if you are interested in attending those workshops, because it will give a lot more insights to you, a lot of more knowledge, and usually they are of great help to students. And any of you attending, we always have a Q&A sessions at the end of each workshop. So if you have any specific questions you want to ask um, during those workshops, you're always welcome to, and we will be providing help we can throughout our Q&A sessions there. Um, Also, having mentioned workshops, on our YouTube channel, we have all the recordings of the previous workshops, and we'll have of the future workshops as well. So if you ever miss a workshop or just want to look through the past recordings, you can always go to our YouTube channel and watch any of those. We will be providing the resources at the end of this workshop. So we will give you a link to our YouTube channel directly and everything. So definitely check those resources out. Um, okay. Uh, any of you guys have any questions to us? Anything you want to share? Thoughts, concerns? Okay, we have our first question right here. So, when you start to research about a topic to form your outline for ARC 2, how much reading is enough? How do you decide that you have enough knowledge or confidence to start forming the outline? I feel like there is too much to learn while reading. Thank you very much. Yes, so this is about researching the sources you have. So any of you guys want to start sharing?
I think I'll go first because that's
Definitely.
also something I often think about. I can start with a pessimistic answer first, but I can tell you that you will always feel like you never read enough. A lot of, I think, if you're honestly doing a research, you will feel like it doesn't matter how much you read because the next article you find, you will read and you'll be like, oh, this is also important. But that's like the pessimistic way of thinking. In research, a very important thing is to understand the scope of what we are supposed to write about. So, like, before, mm, not before, as you read, you will understand that the topic you have itself, and this is also boiling down to like how you formulate your research question and the objectives of your research in general. You will understand there's some like sort of boundaries or parameters that you want to stick to, and in how you understand your question itself, you will find the limits of where you should look technically. Like there is always going to be more information than you can ever read, but it boils down to understanding like, okay, for this specific question, I should at least have a general understanding of these things. And based on that, you can sort of understand how much reading you want to do. Now, for a more practical answer, like Mustasim was talking about, there's going to be, for your theme charts or for your literature reviews, there's going to be a limit that your professor will give you, like specifically, like they will usually for ARC 2, I think it's like 10, 15 research papers max. Um, Probably 10, I think. So usually within that, you will probably only be able to incorporate around 10 to 15 articles into your actual writing. Um, so that is like a hard limit that you can set for yourself. But if you feel like that is not going to help you, like when you first start out without having an actual research question, I would suggest, um, even though a lot of people tell you not to look at Wikipedia as a trusted source, I think it is a very good introductory resource because there you can actually have a general understanding. So like something like Wikipedia, encyclopedias, YouTube, anything that gives you a general understanding will first also give you a scope or like a way to categorize your question or what you want to look, or how do you look for what you want to look. And then based on that, you can start narrowing it down little by little. And then at the very end, at the bottom, you can find those 10 to 15 research articles that will actually be relevant to your study, which I think Andrea was also talking about. Like her professors asked, how is this actually relevant to your question? So you start out by reading very generalized, listening to very generalized knowledge that you will probably not include in your actual research paper. And little by little, you find the boundaries of your research and go into specific technical knowledge. And at the very end is actually the papers that you will actually include. I hope that sort of answers your question. But yeah, maybe the others also have some insight.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dee. Um, First of all, yeah, definitely thank you for your question in the first place. We really appreciate you asking. Um, I would love to add that I would say, yes, I very much agree with Dee. There is always no specific limit on amount of sources. Maybe only if a professor gives you like a maximum you can use or a minimum you can use, but in general you just want to prioritize on looking for the sources that are most applicable, most relevant to your paper, right? And it always depends on the case. Sometimes it might take you a little bit more time to find a good source. Sometimes the very first source you find and start reading through will be like very good, great for your paper. So you can honestly start using this one immediately once you find it, right? So I would say you just need to have a little experience and a little practice to identify if a source is really relevant just from briefly looking through it. Because remember, um, the time to search and find sources, it is a very time consuming activity. So you always want to have this idea of how to look through sources without actually reading through every single word in them, to have an understanding if this source is good for your paper or not. So just skim through them, look at the, let's say, abstract always have the main ideas of what is included in the actual paper. So I would say abstract, introduction, conclusion, those parts usually have main theses, main ideas of the paper. So skimming through those parts will probably give you most knowledge about the paper, and you'll see if this paper have the ideas you want to include or not, right? And I would also say that these are the basic academic literacy courses, and you are not required to use so many sources, or you probably don't have so much time to look for through like let's say 50 different resources or 100 different sources to actually select the ones you want to use the most. But later on, when you will be writing your thesis, for example, you will have not only much more time to write, but also you will be required to use more sources, and the sources should be like really high quality, all of them. So you will spend more and more time. So as these courses, arc 1, arc 2, are more general, more foundation, more basic, um, I would say you just stick with something you find and it is good. If you look through a source and you think it's really good, you just take it and don't really bother looking through like 50 or 100 more sources, because it will be really time consuming to do so. Yeah. So I think this hopefully will be helpful to you. Andrea, Muhtasim, you have anything to
Mm.
add?
I do want to add something, but before that, like we have about 17, 18 minutes. Any other questions, anyone? Because I feel like Dee and Paul, shared enough, a lot of very helpful information about this question. Any other questions, anyone? Mm, Okay, in that case, I want to add something. Zach, it would be nice if you could confirm, like, by your question. So I feel like you're asking that when you're gaining foundational knowledge, right? You need to have some sort of foundational knowledge before you can start writing a paper. So when you're gaining that foundational knowledge, are you asking that how do I know that I have enough foundational knowledge um, to write a paper on this? You need to have a certain level of knowledge before you can start. Maybe that's what you're asking. If that is the case, right? I think I understand what you mean. So once again, building up on what Dee and Paul said, you don't have a lot of time. One first thing that you should do is you might have a phobia. I had this phobia, like, I should not skip any paper, right? I should go through all of these papers. The title sounds so nice. If I skip through these, I'm gonna suffer when I try to write my paper. So I'm like, no, I will try to read them properly. Again, you just don't have enough time. Another issue that you will run into, and this is from experience, is that if the abstract doesn't, like, you should understand what the paper is, 90% of the paper is, from reading the abstract. If the abstract is not that nicely written, from personal experience, I'm not gonna say like this is what professors told me or like what others do or that you should do this. From personal experience, you should not even go further, like beyond abstract. Abstract should make complete sense. If it doesn't, and the reason I'm saying this is something because this is something my professor from UTWS thesis seminar said, that you will come across a lot of papers, and he was saying like, look at this paper. This is published on Taylor and Francis. Taylor and Francis is a very reputed online database, but that doesn't mean that all of these papers have perfect grammar, or like the grammars are the grammar structure, the sentence structures they're using is very easy to understand. It should be very easy to understand, even if you use a lot of jargon, right? So if you don't understand the abstract, my suggestion would be don't bother reading that paper or trying to use that paper. Unless you don't have any option, you chose a very narrow topic and you have very limited papers to use, then you kind of have to, you also run into that issue. But if you have other papers, if you see that there's a lot of research on your topic, don't bother reading papers that, like, the abstract you don't understand. abstract should tell you. This is what my thesis professor said. If you read the abstract and you don't understand, don't bother. It's too complicated. It was not well written. You learn into those issues. And as for gaining foundational knowledge, how do you become confident enough to feel like I know enough about this topic to write a paper on it? And I feel like one thing is you will gain this confidence when you can write the background information of the introduction properly, because then you have like, no, I know at least the basic points, and now I can to some extent relate to the advanced points. If it's about DBI, and I can make a better suggestion because I am from DBI background. AI, blockchain, right? You want to write about these topics. You will be studying these topics in your third and fourth semester, but you don't have the basic information, and it's available, but it's not as common as other topics, right? My suggestions for searching is literally writing on YouTube or Google pathway, right? So learn a blockchain learning pathway or something similar, right? If you shuffle those words, anything related to pathway or yeah, learning pathway, like when you write pathway, what happens is it shows you what you need to learn in order, right? In a chronological order. If you want to learn AI or if you want to learn blockchain, the first thing you need to learn about is NoSQL or databases. You need to have a good knowledge of these topics before you can jump into um, learning about blockchain. Your professors also probably tell you that most of academic writing is more about research than actual writing. Like if your research is that good, or if you've done a lot of research, your writing will be easier. If you can spend some time, please try to learn these try to gain that foundational knowledge using these pathways. The pathways tells you like what is the first thing. Otherwise what happens is you go through these academic papers and you're like, I don't understand, this is too advanced, I have no idea what this is about. Once you go through that pathway for topics for blockchain, AI, you have some knowledge. You don't have time to go through everything, but you have some foundational knowledge about, so like, okay, I know what decentralized means. I remember when learning about blockchain, right? Even these terms feel very unfamiliar, but now it doesn't. So they're like, decentralization is a core issue with blockchain, right? Some governments have problem with that. If it's decentralized, there are a lot of security issues that you will run into. So you don't even understand what does the word decentralized mean. But if you write on Google or YouTube, like intro to blockchain or blockchain pathway, then they will share these things like, okay, this you need to learn about decentralization or security issues. Then that's the next thing you need to learn is, and they will give you a short description of what this topic is about. What does decentralization mean? What are the security issues related with blockchain? So yeah, that's how you that's how you know that you're on the right track. You have gained enough foundational knowledge, and then probably you can start. You don't feel as nervous writing about a topic. I spoke a lot, yeah, but I really wanted to help. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. A great insight as well. This I would say was more general, targeting major courses as well, how you can gain knowledge, but definitely related to all the research and everything. Um, yes, and thank you very much for the question once again. We really appreciate all of you asking this. Um, really glad that our answers help you. Andre, you have anything else to add?
I think you guys covered everything,
Mhm.
but I guess when it comes to researching a topic, as long as you find that topic interesting, I think when it comes to finding sources and answering your question, it'll kind of come naturally, I guess you could say. And when you're looking at sources, you'll like find a lot of evidence that you could use, or you'll see like a line in the abstract and be like, oh, let me keep this source and maybe read through it a little bit more. So I feel like as you just keep skimming through sources, you'll eventually gain some general knowledge and confidence on your topic, and then you can easily form your outline with your good sources.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for sharing. So we have only 10 minutes left. today for this workshop. Anyone else has anything to share or any other questions you want to ask? We can briefly go through, I guess, one of them probably. Let's just wait for, I would say, a minute or two. If there are no questions, we would probably just gonna end the workshop for today. We're gonna provide the links to some of our resources. Dee, would you be able to send a link to our YouTube channel, please? And I'm gonna provide
Neat.
the attendance sheet later. And yeah, just a reminder, we are gonna give you a link to the attendance sheet for this very specific workshop. However, it will be only available and open for a few minutes. So please be quick to fill it in after the workshop ends. Otherwise, you won't really be able to fill it in after. Okay, here's the link to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much, T. Again, on our YouTube channel, we upload all of our workshop recordings, either past or future. So definitely go check it out. Please subscribe, give us some likes. We always appreciate those. And the workshops usually cover a lot of different aspects, a lot of different topics. Most of them are very much closely related to ARC 1 and ARC 2 courses. So if you ever feel like you want some help with a very specific topic, we always encourage you to check if there is a workshop specifically on this topic, because during those workshops, all of our PAW members, we provide a fully detailed explanation with different examples, with everything you want to know, as well as Q&A sessions. So there are very high chances that if you have a specific question on a specific topic, you will find answers in those workshops, previous ones, or on our website and resources section. All right, I don't really see any questions as for now. Do you guys, my fellow pool members, have anything to add before ending this workshop? As for today? Okay. We would love to, first of all, thank you, every one of you for coming, for attending. It's our greatest pleasure to be able to assist you, to help you in any way. Again, we encourage you to book a session with us. If you have any, even very simple challenges, questions, concerns, or you just want us to look at your paper and give some feedback, we are always happy to help you and assist you. I'm gonna give you a link to the attendance form for today. Here it is in chat. Please be quick about filling it in, because again, it will be open for just a few minutes. And also, I would like to share our website with you, link to our website, specifically resources section. Here it is. On there we have a bunch of different sources, again related to a variety of topics. So if you want to look it up by yourself to learn something, or to look through some of the sources, please visit this page. Even during our in-person PAW sessions, we always encourage students to do so, or we are using those resources by ourselves to showcase to the students and provide some useful insights specifically based on those sources. Um, all right, so if no one has anything else to add, I'd say we just end it up here. Thank you again very much for coming, everyone. We really appreciate this. And definitely good luck with your academic writing, papers, assignments, and have a really good time. and a great semester overall. We are always here to help you, to assist you, and we will be really happy to see you in future during our sessions or future workshops. Yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you very much for
Thank you.
coming.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you,
for coming.
guys.